Also, guys, I'm sorry. I do not want to put my politics or any of my, like, that kind of shit on this account. But I do have to say, like, right now in this current, like, thing that's happening in the state that our country is in right now, with this Kavanaugh case, I do just want to say that I don't know who watches these videos, if men or women, and I'm not going to say that men are pigs and horrible, because I know that all men are not that way, just in the same way that all women, you know, aren't a certain stereotype. Like, they say, oh, well, the whole thing, well, I was sexually assaulted. Well, how are you dressed? How much were you drinking? I'm sorry, who gives a shit how much you were drinking or how you were dressed? Like, a man can walk in somewhere shirtless and drink and get so trashed you can't even see, and you, like, there is not a moment that crossed into his mind if he wonders if he's going to get pinned down and taken advantage of by either another man or a woman. Like, that standard, it just doesn't exist. So, like, for any man, and I mean, even, like, the best men in the world, I mean, I love my dad so much, but his, like, opinion on this is so skewed. He said, you know, she's making it up, she just wants attention. This is not some crackhead off the street that's like, yeah, I was raped years ago, or, like, sexually assaulted years ago, and I want money. But she's not looking for anything. Like, this is going to destroy her for the rest of her life, because there's always going to be people that say she's a liar, the hashtag I'm with him, whatever. But all I'm saying here is that I know that all men are not this way, but 1 in 4 women in their lives are sexually assaulted. That's like a statistic fact. And these are just the ones that come forward. I'm sure that it's higher than 1 in 4. I'm sure it's probably 1 in 3 women. Like, I myself have been catcalled in New York City. I have been followed home. I've been chased home. I have been, like, groped at, and people touching me when I don't want them to, and, like, telling them no. It doesn't register in their mind. Like, no means no always. I don't care if I'm drunk. I don't care if I'm scantily clad, whatever that's supposed to even mean. I don't care if I'm literally almost naked. It doesn't matter. Or if you think that it's going somewhere. Like, if you think, like, oh, you know, we're going to do it. We're going to have sex. And I tell you I'm not ready. Or I say no, or I push you away and I'm like, I'm done. That means no. That doesn't mean lock the door or force yourself on me or try to roofie me. It doesn't mean any of those things. And the problem with our country is that people are raising their children. Like, there was a woman on the news. She said to her daughter, like, on TV with her daughters, it's okay if a man gropes you and touches you. It just means he wants you. It just means that he likes you or some shit. And, like, the daughters were agreeing. So the only thing I have to say, well, I have a lot to say about it, but the one thing that I will say on this channel, and, like, publicly speaking to everyone, is that for all the women, and as a matter of fact, all the men that are watching, just remember one thing. Your body is your body. It is nobody else's body, okay? It is absolutely yours. This is your right, your property. Like, nobody on the planet Earth has the right to touch you or assault you or pin you down or force you to do something you're not, or violate your body and your privacy. Because, first of all, this is America. We have rights, okay? Second of all, if you don't want something or you don't want someone to touch you, then they should not touch you, and our legal system should defend that. And the fact that, like, even if Kavanaugh didn't do it, somebody did, and something horrible happened to her, and this woman, Dr. Ford, she is not some lunatic. And obviously, like, I believe that even if he did it or not, he should step down because of his performance during this, like, the way he was acting and screaming and, like, fighting, and he just, it's horrible. And the fact that Donald Trump is like, what an eloquent speech. Dude, he was, like, yelling and freaking out. What do you mean eloquent? But I'm sorry. I don't mean to throw my views into it, because I am from a Republican family. Like, our family is old Italian, old school. Like, half of our family is pretty, like, anti-gay, still doesn't like, you know, black people, still thinks that, like, they're second class to us, hates immigrants, like, really big on our military, really big on, like, patriotism, and a lot of Trumpers in our family. So please understand that I see it from both sides. Like, I went to NYU, very liberal school, Point Park, very liberal school. I myself do identify as liberal for many reasons, you know, not just because, I think I do consider myself a feminist, that I believe in, like, the rights of women and defending women, but I also consider myself more than anything, like, a humanist. And I was just talking to my best friend about this. Like, I believe in equal rights, and I think that I, as a woman, know exactly how it feels to feel, like, powerless with a man, and like, I'm not saying that I've been raped because I haven't, so I can never, I'm not going to put words in those women's mouths, but I can tell you as a woman, like, the fear that I felt places, and when I've been, and I know that I'm underage, but when I've been drinking, my fear of being taken advantage of, not making it home at night, walking home by myself, and being afraid that someone's going to kill me, someone's going to pin me down and do whatever they want to me, and then they're going to kill me, like, and then from the same perspective, I can never speak on behalf of a black person, African American person. I could never speak on what it feels like to be black in this country, because I am not. I can only sympathize and root for them and speak on their behalf, and whenever I'm, with my African American friends, to let them know that I'm with them and that I'm here for them, and I never would consider them to be a second-class citizen, or I would never consider them to be automatically thugs or whatever it is. And like the police brutality thing, it's horrible. I think that I feel really bad for the good police officers that are getting a bad name. I feel really bad, obviously, for the entire black community that lives in fear of the police and fear of our justice system. And, obviously, like, because of my sexuality, I'm obviously a huge LGBTQ, like, advocate, and I think that, like, the Equality Act, we really need to have, this is what I'm studying for my social welfare class right now, the Equality Act, and just that you shouldn't, like, the EDNA Act, like, Employee Non-Discrimination Act, that you should never be able to be denied a job, or denied anything because of your sexuality, because at the end of the day, like, my capability to be a personal trainer and to be a health coach is not at all affected by the fact that I'm gay. Do you know what I mean? So, like, whether you're straight, bi, gay, if you identify as queer, as a lesbian, as any of the sexualities, LGBTQ+, like, if you identify as pansexual, it doesn't matter what your sexuality is, because that literally does not define you. Like, that is a part of you. It's a puzzle piece in who you are. And I don't think that for a minute, just like being a woman is who I am, like, just because I am a woman doesn't mean that someone can take advantage of my body, and just because, I identify in, like, as LGBTQ, that, like, I'm any less qualified to do my job or should have any less rights, And I think it's really simple. Like, people make it this big complicated thing, and like with transgender rights and the bathroom thing, I think that there are some complications, but in truth, I think there's just one thing that we should all know, and that we might have different genders, we might have different sexes, there's a difference, but we might have those differences, and we might have different sexualities and different color skins and different racial backgrounds and different histories and family backgrounds. People that have a family from slavery obviously feels very differently about equality rights than my Italian family, who we don't have that. So I'm sorry I'm ranting. This just upsets me. I think that the one thing we can all, or should be able to agree on, because it's a fact, is that we are all human beings. And every human being should have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Isn't that what America's all about? Like, I honestly believe in my heart that being a human should, I was going to say trump, that's a horrible word, but should overshadow any other label, any other thing, because a lot of this stuff, it's socially created constructs, like we have these stereotypical values and norms for what a woman should be and what a man should be, but what about the people that don't identify in either? And like, there's this whole study about chromosomes and how there can be so many different sexes or genders. I can't remember. I think it is sexes because it's biological, but obviously, like, I don't know so much about it that I can, like, debate and have, like, if I researched more, like, I would know, and I will. I read something recently, and I can't quite remember if it was sex or gender, and I don't want to offend anyone, but the thing is, like, because of this Kavanaugh case, I think it's, honestly, it's opening up such a conversation about what it means to be a human being and what it means to be someone in America right now. And I think with the immigration thing, and Trump is our president, and so, like, with immigration, with women's rights and equality and rape and the Me Too movement, there's this whole overarching theme, I think, that we're all kind of missing, that there's something wrong with our system, that we value some people over the other and believe some people over the other. Like, if a woman says that she was violated and she comes out with that and she's able to speak her truth and she was already so afraid, like, and a man too, there are men, you know, this whole thing with the Catholic Church, those men that stepped forward, they were never, no one said to them, well, this happened so long ago, why didn't you come forward with it? Because they were children. It's the same thing, like, men will never know what it feels like to be so afraid because, like, they just don't, like, women know. And just, like, if you murder someone and they find the body 30 years later, does that make you any less of a murderer? Of course not. And if you rape someone or you sexually assault someone in any way, does it make you any less of a perpetrator because it happened 30 years ago or 20 years ago or 10 years ago? I don't care how long it was. I just want to say that I believe her and I'm with her. And for everyone that disagrees, I'm sorry for you. And I do feel sorry for you that your judgment has been clouded by our political system, by the way that you were raised, whatever it is that it made you believe that a woman would lie about being sexually assaulted. I think that it's all a really huge problem, that we're all failing to notice the big theme of it. And the big theme, obviously, is there's something really messed up with our country. So anyway, that aside, I'm sorry, I don't mean to rant. It's very upsetting. And as, like, someone that, like, I don't, like, run around with, like, a pride flag on my shirt all day long. And in the same way that I don't need to, like, pronounce out to everyone that, like, I'm a woman or whatever. Like, I know what it feels like to be, I don't want to say a minority, that's the wrong word, but I know what it feels like to be small or to feel small. Like, I am white, so of course I have that advantage. I have a white privilege. Yes, I do, 100%. However, like, I'm also a woman, so I'm at a disadvantage. And because of, I do live in, like, a fear almost daily about my sexuality, that someone will, like, God forbid, find out and not hire me as their trainer or not want to be my friend anymore or not love me as their family anymore. I've had that fear every single day, and I probably will have that fear every single day for the rest of my life, because, you know, when you are LGBTQ and if you are proud, and let's say, you know, like, if I'm with a woman, obviously people are going to know, but you have to come out for the rest of your life. You spend the rest of your life coming out with that. In the same, or in a synonymous way, that Dr. Ford will forever be labeled with this, with what happened to her, and with the fact that people think that she's a liar or whatever. It is horrible. I really feel terrible about this whole thing, and it really breaks my heart. And I wish there was more that I could do other than call Congress and vote, you know what I mean? So if there's anything you get out of this, please vote. Vote for what you believe in. Vote for human rights. Vote for people. All right, guys.